Well, Fragile X syndrome, or FXS, is a rare genetic condition and is the most inherited form of developmental and intellectual disabilities out there. FXS may often be misdiagnosed as autism or ADHD. Well, we're joined by developmental behavioral specialist and pediatrician Dr. Carrie Buchanan, and patient advocate and parent of a child living with Fragile X syndrome, Robin Blackwood. Welcome to the show.
Fragile X syndrome is a genetic condition, so it's caused by a change in a gene on the X chromosome. Changes in this gene can cause intellectual disability, language difficulties, learning difficulties, and behavioral challenges. The most commonly being anxiety, specifically social anxiety, social avoidance, irritability, ADHD, and autism. The diagnosis is made through a blood or saliva test that can be ordered by your doctor or a genetic counselor. Fragile X syndrome is a common cause of ADHD and autism, though they are not the same thing. So many individuals with Fragile X syndrome do have ADHD and autism.
It's a pretty big impact, one, because it's hereditary. And so when you get a diagnosis of Fragile X syndrome, you have to determine kind of which line of the family it's traveling through as a carrier status, which is, I am a carrier of it. And so that's why my son has the full mutation of Fragile X syndrome. Secondly, supporting a child with Fragile X syndrome is pretty intensive. There's lots of OT, PT, and speech therapy when they're young, particularly to just kind of help them gain skills to learn sometimes to walk, talk. Toilet training can be extremely challenging with a child who has Fragile X syndrome because they have an intellectual disability. It's often really hard to, teach them things that a typical child would learn quite easily.
Reconnect is a clinical trial that is currently enrolling individuals with Fragile X between the ages of 3 and 29 years old. There are 2 options to participate in this trial. There are multiple centers across the United States who are offering it, but there's also a completely in-home option. If you want to learn more, go to Fragile X Help, HELP, fragilexhelp.com, and there's a lot of information there about the trial.